And I do not see, okay, terrific. So let's start. And Darlene, will you admit people as they come in? Or
yes.
Colleen, can you do that too?
Yeah, I can do that.
Perfect.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you. So welcome everyone to the 7th episode of Western Canada Region's Sharing Soroptimist Stories Through Friendship. I'm Suzanne Heron. I'm currently the governor of the Western Canada Region.
You're on mute.
Oh,
okay.
Right. Sorry about
I think I accidentally did that. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. There we go. No worries. And you know what, Colleen, we can also, I think, set it so that the ding ding when people enter is maybe not noticeable, but I can't actually remember how to do that. So never mind. So we'll start again. Welcome everyone to the 7th episode of Western Canada Region's Sharing Soroptimist Stories Through Friendship. I'm Suzanne Heron. I'm currently the governor of the Western Canada Region, and I'd like to first acknowledge that many of us are coming.
You're on mute again.
Yeah, I keep getting muted. Never mind.
You know, what's happening is I'm trying to let somebody in and they're already, and I'm inadvertently clicking on you. Sorry about that.
No worries. No worries. So I'd first like to acknowledge that many of us are coming to this call from traditional territories that the Indigenous people who have occupied and nurtured this land for thousands of years. And we are grateful for their stewardship and for the spirit of reconciliation to move us forward. Now, please, everyone, say hello in the chat and put where you're from and any Soroptimist position that you hold. And I'd first like to introduce our region's friendship chair, Darlene Jameson, who is packing up for a trip to Mexico tomorrow and tying up all the loose ends of their club's Dream It Be It project. And she just has a few words to say. Darlene, over to you.
Thank you. And as Governor Suzanne had mentioned, this is our 7th Sharing Soroptimist Stories, and it's a bit of an anniversary. 2 years ago, January 28th or 29th, we hosted our very first one. And at that time, we had Kate Moore from the SI chat line, and also, Kate Moore from SI chat line, and Hillary Ladler, who did the president's appeal pins. And at that time, Anna Durr, who's here, she is with the SI Edmonton Club, and they invited their friendship link to the call. They were from Ukraine. It was just before the war, and my family's is Ukrainian. But these calls are to help us make connections with our friendship links around the world. And we have so many amazing sharing Soroptimist stories that we needed to find a way to connect with everyone. And we've had different themes. This is our second theme or second call on the magic of online clubs, online meetings, and online activities to help us stay connected with each other. And we have 4 amazing storytellers, plus the 4 that we had from our first call last year. And as Suzanne and I think others mentioned, we had one of the past presidents or the founding president of the Milano Club from Italy. And because she was, the other Sarah was living actually in the US, she was able to join us because SA Southeast Asia Pacific is a little bit hard to come during this time zone. But we have We have Leslie from SI Cascades Online, and their anniversary date is, I believe, or created June 7th, 2016. And at that time, they had a fun fact of, they said a ton of experience, not quite, but only 170 years at that time, and 8 past presidents. So I imagine there'll be many more updates. We also have Rochelle from SA Liberté, who's going to be here from Great Britain and Ireland, Sarah from Italy, and they just had their 3rd anniversary. And also we have Finney, who's from the newest online club with 45 members, and it's 3 months. And so I have a little, I wish we had smell-o-vision, because this is a happy birthday candle that we have. Actually, we have a 9-year-old in our Dream It Be It Girls Conference. She's now double digit. She's 10 years old, and she creates candles, and she's amazing. Lily Lou's Aromas, but many celebrations and opportunities to share our stories. And I think maybe we can begin with a few other housekeeping and also introducing our speakers.
Thank you, Darlene. Yes, just a reminder for everyone to mute yourselves, please and thank you. And I don't see a Q&A in this Zoom, so please, if you have questions as we go along, just pop them into the chat, and Colleen Penrally is going to monitor those for us, and we will have an opportunity towards the end in about an hour for questions and conversation and discussion. So as Darlene mentioned, we've got, wait, Sarah, I've missed pinning Sarah. I thought I did. All right, maybe Darlene, you can find Sarah while I introduce everybody else. So as Darlene mentioned, so is it Rachel or Rochelle?
It is Rachel.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. Rachel Weinhold is here from SI Libertas, the first online club in Sigby, and she's also a director of Grow Traffic for all your online marketing needs. Although I have to confess, Rachel, that I'm from Lasqueti Island, which is most known for growing pot. And so when I saw the name Grow Traffic, my mind went somewhere else. Never mind. We have Leslie Angst, who is the president-elect now of SI Cascadia in Northwestern Washington, SIA. So in her 4th year of leading a Dream It Be It program. So any Dream It Be It questions, go to Leslie. We have Finney Ogembo, who is the charter president of the how do you say it, Finney? Tawai Club, the online club in Kenya that grew out of Kayenga Wasiki's Girls Leadership Program. And I think Kayenga will tell us a little bit about that. And Finney is also the president of the Girls and Young Women's Movement in Kenya. And we have Sarah Crescenti, somewhere, the co-founder and current president of SI Milano Net Lead in Italy, and project manager, as she mentioned, for IBM in Italy. Now, we're going to go west-east, except mindful that Rachel has to duck out in an hour. So Leslie, would you just kick off the information here? Tell us your story in about 5 or 6 minutes. What's the story of SI Cascadia and the benefits of an online club? What has brought you joy?
Thank you. I'm so happy that you invited Cascadia Online to partake. So thank you for that. One of the really neat things about our club is that we have members in various states. We're in the Northwestern region, which is comprised of 5 states in the Northwest. And we have members from just about all of them. We initially did have some members from Alaska, and they only recently decided not to be members anymore. They just had too many things going on in their lives. But we just learn so much from each other from these different areas and experiences, which is very different from in-person clubs. From my experience, I've been in 2 previous in-person clubs prior to Cascadia Online. Another neat thing is that we all have the opportunity and are encouraged to participate, to tell us, share ideas on programming and just everything. That's one thing we're kind of known for in our region, is that we do have a very, I'm going to say open door. That's not really the right term, but we're very welcoming to what you have to say, and that doesn't necessarily happen in some clubs. I hear all the time that that's one thing that's kind of drawn back, is there's always really strong, assertive women, and if you're not that way, it might be harder for you to express your voice. So we just make an effort to make sure that everyone is heard and comfortable as well. And let's see, were you going to wait until, or do you want me to wait until you ask the questions to go on the other topics? Okay, thank you. Was there anything else that you wanted me to address?
Well, how did you form? How did the club come together? How did you
Thank
find all
you.
these people?
Yes, well, what is really interesting, and I actually learned this myself. I was not a charter member. It actually came to the idea in 2009. And coincidentally, there was a member who's actually our governor now, Karen, in the north part of Western Washington. And she was over an hour from her club where they met in person. And she just got to thinking, oh, with all of the people that are techie and online now, this might be a neat opportunity to have an online club that the younger techie people would be interested in joining. And at the same time, in the southern part of Western Washington, or a little more south, but one was north of Seattle, one was south of Seattle, another member of our current club was thinking the same thing. She is very techie, and she also thought that the online club would be a great idea. The 2 of them got together and presented to Region, but Region wasn't really ready for it then. I think there wasn't a lot outside of work of going on online. And so they kept the enthusiasm and the desire for it. And then in 2016, when they came back to Region was ready to accept an online club and said, yes, go for it. So with their experiences in their careers and their gifts, they were able to create the club. One thing when we started that's really neat is one of the Alaska clubs in Kenai was closing, and they donated their leftover money to our club, which has been wonderful for funding our Live Your Dream Award, primarily for a few years now. So we are a young club. We're still tasked with figuring out what a good fundraiser would be. Is this part of the later questions on the fund? Okay, I'll stop there. We'll go more on that later. Yeah. And
Brilliant.
so we're open to anyone. We have, like I said, members from all over. We have a lot of leadership. Another neat thing about our club is that our service project is Region. We have 8 different members that are active and hold roles in Region, whether it be on a committee or a leadership. So that's also unique about us and gives us the opportunity to meet a lot of people. Most of our club members do attend Region, and so we get together then as well. And we also have little get-togethers periodically.
Thank you so much, Leslie. Okay, Rachel, what gives you joy in SI Libertas? How did you guys come together?
Well, yeah, thank you. And just thank you for inviting me to come to this. And as Suzanne's already said, I'm afraid I've only got an hour because I'm actually due at a Masonic dinner this evening. So forgive me if I shoot off a little bit early. But yeah, essentially, so SI Libertas was the first e-club in Sigby. And we've been chartered just over a year now. And it really came about off the back of COVID. So I was a member of a local club, had been for about 4 or 5 years. But at the time, my son was a bit younger. My husband, already mentioned, was a Mason. So he was often out on the evenings that our club met. And it meant I either had to find a babysitter or, I had to arrange childcare or, get lifts there and back and all this kind of stuff. It was about a 35-minute, 40-minute drive for me to get to my nearest club. And I was making it work, but it was a little bit of a struggle. And then when COVID hit, and we all went virtual, we started having our meetings online. And I just thought, this is so much better. This is so much easier for me. I don't have to rush to get everybody fed before I'm out the house and find babysitters and all this stuff. I can do this and I can do everything else that I need to do. When the club then went back to meeting in person at the end of lockdown, I thought that there's got to be a way, and I can't be the only woman in this position feeling like this. And then I heard about SI Milano Net, and I thought that's a brilliant idea. Why don't we do that? So I approached Kathy Cottridge, who was the president of Sigby at the time, and said, please, can we do this? And she said, yeah, go for it. And so we actually quite quickly found our first cohort of women, and they were, most of them, I was imagining that most of our members would be sort of younger, have young children, that kind of thing. But actually, we've got a real mix of ages in our club. Right from, we've got someone in their 20s right up to somebody in their 60s. But the common denominator is those kind of caring responsibilities, busy lives, whether it be parents or grandchildren or our own children. We've all got other responsibilities, or are living very far away from the closest club. And so we came together, and I say we've been doing SI Libertas for, well, actually over 2 years now. We did a year before we were chartered. Then we were chartered September before last. So we're coming into our 2nd year now. And it's been a bit of a learning curve, in all honesty. But actually, when we kind of got down to brass tacks, one of the things we realized was kind of the obstacles that we were thinking were going to be there actually weren't. So the practicalities of, do we belong to a region? How much are we going to pay in membership? All that actually was just the same. It worked just the same as in a virtual club as it did in a physical club. And then things like program action. How are we going to do program action if we're all over the country, which we are? How is that going to work? If how are we going to collect something, for example, for our local refuge if we're all up and down the country? Well, again, what we do is we just collect for our local refuges. So we kind of do it individually, but then we report that as a whole program action. So we're still able to fulfill that kind of local capability, if you like, but we just do it virtually. And it's been really, really good, and I absolutely love it. And just some of our kind of key program actions that we've done, we're doing a campaign on menstrual equity. It's called the Free Flow campaign. And that's about we want to make sanitary products as ubiquitous in toilets as toilet roll is. So we're campaigning about that. We've done a campaign on against spiking. And we've got a conference coming up tomorrow, which is going to help us fundraise to help build a medical centre in Uganda. We've been working with one of our sister clubs, SI Wakiso. So we've still got a really broad range of program action. So yeah, I think that's us.
That's awesome. So Rachel, one question. Mm-hmm. You said you got your first cohort quite quickly. How? Are you rating people from other clubs who want to be online? Are you reaching into the general public? How did you find those folks?
We were about half and half. So half of them were existing Soroptimists that, like I say, either couldn't make it to meetings because of caring responsibilities or because of geography and were looking for something else. there were two who had been Soroptimists and had to stop for those very reasons. So they came back into Soroptimism with this opportunity. And then the other half were women that had never been Soroptimists before, purely for the reason that they couldn't see how it would fit in their lives. Like my sister, for example, my sister's watched me do it for years, but she's got, her children are younger than mine. She's got one who's just turned 3, so was a baby at the time. It just wasn't feasible for her to join at that time. Whereas as soon as we could do it online, you know, she could become a member. So yeah, Sigby were very kind. They said that we could reduce the numbers that was required in a club. We could essentially charter with 8 members. We had 12, so we could have reached the threshold. But they said we could charter with 8, and so we did charter with 8 officially. We're now up to, I think we're still on 13 at the moment, but we have we're not very strict with our membership. So essentially, whilst we have the sort of core members who come and pay their membership, we also have a few women in our WhatsApp group who have remained members of other clubs, their club that they were with, but they still come and join in with SI Libertas. And we also have sort of hangers on, if you like, who will help us out with a program action. They'll donate something, they'll sign a petition, they might drop into a meeting every now and again, but they're not ready yet to join. And the hope is that we kind of keep them warm until they are ready to join. So we let them be in our gang, if you like.
Brilliant. In our club, we call them volunteers.
That's a much nicer. That's a much nicer word to say.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Thank you.
Sarah, co-founder of Milano Net Lead. Your charter ceremony was so wonderful.
Thank you.
Where's the joy for you, and how did you put it together?
Well, in 2019, I took part to a full immersion course on leadership and gender promoted by Soroptimist International of Italy at the Bocconi Business School in Milan. And here I met other 50 wonderful young ladies coming from different Italian cities and with incredible and several professional careers and backgrounds. And here, led by Professors Cuomo and Paolino, we discovered and deepened topics as equality in society, and we talk about the glass ceiling with a detailed focus on female leaders and on the obstacles and prejudices they still have to fight with forgetting these roles. So when these 2 days came over, me and 3 other girls, Giulia, Chiara, and Elena, that you mentioned before, we decided not to lose the energy of those days, and we started thinking about the creation of a network for motivating and empowering women under 35 years old. And so 3 years ago, with the support of Mariolino Coppola, and who was the past president of the Soroptimist International of Italy, and our godmother, Mara Costantino, we created the first Italian e-club, Milano Net Lead. And at the moment, our e-club is composed by 36 members who live in different cities and countries. And we are all united by the same values and passion for Soroptimist. And so the virtual solution is the best for us for staying and creating events and initiatives and service for our communities.
That's marvelous. And how did you go from 5 to 36? Where do you are you relying on Rachel's wonderful social media marketing techniques, or how are you finding folks?
Well, yeah, we use and we still use the social media for getting new members. But we started from that network we created during the Bocconi days. So we started with those members, and then we spread the voice out with social media as LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and also. I think Rob is talking. Sorry. And also, yeah, with the other members took other friends into the club, and they show their passion, their enthusiasm, and their energy to all the friends they have. So many of them come together in our club.
Well, that's the same way it is in an in-person club. You know, we show our passion and our interest and our enthusiasm and bring our friends in. That's brilliant. Thank you. Now, Finny, I don't, maybe you have not managed, maybe your video is still not working. Never mind, we can hear you. Will you tell us, and we should find Kayenga as well and bring her in for a few minutes. Will you tell your story, please?
Hi everyone. Hi, hello. My name is Fanny Ogembo. I am so excited. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be part of this meeting. I am sorry my video is not really cooperating. I am so sorry. I hope you can hear me.
We can hear you perfectly.
Okay. So our journey is quite an amazing journey because we all share a lot. When we started, we went for a retreat at Madam Hayanga's place, who is currently our godmother, and for 13 people after the leadership conference. And then we sat down just realizing how far we've been walking after the leadership conference that we've been having like every year, because we go back every year just to also assist and tell the girls our story, like how has it been after the leadership conference, for them not to just see that it's just a conference that people go for, but there's an aftermath for the conference. And so we were just sharing some of the stories, some of the journeys that we've been able to take, some of the paths some of us are taking, what are we doing, and then boom, we came up with a name, and we just said, why don't we start a club that's called E-Top Team? And we were just like, yeah, E-Top Team, yeah, because it's online, and then we are the top team, like we're the creme de la creme. But now we were just like, okay, yes, we'll do it, and da da da, yada yada. Everyone went back, and then there was a moment of silence, I would say, because there was not quite a lot that was taking place. And then now we decided to recollect ourselves, and I would really thank Madam Hayanga, who has really been holding us together. And she again brought us on board again and told us, I now feel this is the time that we need to move, and we need to move fast, because one, she's been keeping in touch and asking me how have I been doing, and just knowing that I really am passionate about the space of girls and young women, and just sharing my story of some of the challenges, some of the milestones, and some of the things that I'm doing. And she's just like, yeah, I think now this is the right time, because you already now even have the experience, now that you've been working with young women, we can start a young women's club under the Soroptimist. And I was just like, wow, I would love to be a Soro. Well, that's how we call it in Kenya, like in short form, Soro. So and just getting to know, like, how does the space look like? And you were asking her questions, do you have a club for young women? And she's like, no, you're going to be the first club for the young women. I was just like, whoa, here we go, boom. So I just shared that with the girls, and they were so excited, and they were just like, yeah, I want to join. So we started mobilizing some of the girls that we were with in the program, and even others who were just interested to join and become Soro as well. So that's how we formed our club, and we brought our thoughts together. What exactly do we want to do, and how are we going to do it, and how many girls do we want at the first stop? And we had an overlap, but at some point we had to say, hey, guys, we need to put a full stop a little bit for some time. Let's work with a smaller group and see how we manage and how we grow. So that's how we came. We also came with the name Tawi E Club, for us to visualize whatever we were doing. We decided we want to internalize our name. we call ourselves, Tawi is a Swahili word that comes from a tree. It's a leaf. So we have Soroptimist, which had the bigger tree, the global international tree. And then now we are a young women's club. And you know, Soroptimist has done a lot, and there are good fruits which represent the green leaf. And that's why we said we need to call ourselves Tawi E Club. It means that we are a branch from the Soroptimist International Federation, and we are just the fruits of what the women who went before us and loved service and have shown us that this is the way, and we see the green leaves about it. And then they were just like, wow, then we can call ourselves Tawi E Club, and that means we are fruit, we are a branch from the main tree. So that's how we also came with our name. And we were chartered, we're just 2 months and 27 days into Soroptimist, and I happen to be the chartered president of Tawi E Club, and I am loving the space under Soroptimist. We've done our first activity into the community, and we've done gender-based violence, and I would just love to share this, and just to see the impact story. There's a man who came to ask for an opportunity to speak, and he spoke so with a lot of sorrow in his heart, and as well just a healing process. He lost his arms, he's lost his eyes, he has a lot of bruises in his body just because of gender-based violence. And assuming that most of it happens only to women, but we also realize that we need to involve men into the conversation, because we are trying to bring the gender equity and equality aspect, and him sharing and talking to other men, that for me, that was the outcome that we harvested in the activity that we done. And even some and just also informing some of the activities that we planned for this year as the girls and young women within Tawi E Club. And if time allows, I will have more time to share about some of the activities that we have in store, and we are all welcomed, our fellow Soroptimist sisters, and just loving the sisterhood and the togetherness that we have, and the passion and the zeal that brought us together. Because one thing I love about our club is that we specifically operate in the rural areas, in the marginalized areas, where the girls and young women are actually forgotten or even remembered, but partially remembered. So that is the uniqueness of our club, and we embrace and we love, because we would love to see our communities and our villages and the girls and young women just sprout and become better and good women in the society and in the community. I think for me, I would say, and that is our story for Tawi E Club. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And just to let folks know that a small group to start with for them turns out to be 45 young women. So, so Kayanga is the godmother. She's here. And Kayanga, do you have anything to add to that story of creation?
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much, Susanna. I think I cannot speak after Fanny, because
I think she said it all. All right, I'm gonna unpin you.
Very, very well. And for everyone on the call, we hold a young women's leadership camp that goes between 10 days to 15 days every year. And this has been going on for 13 years now. And on the 10th anniversary is when we met in 2021 and had a retreat. Every year they choose one leader. They vote for a leader during their campaign of learning good governance. And those leaders come back almost every year to volunteer in every camp. And so that day we decided, okay, after this is 10th anniversary, let's go and celebrate. And I threw a party and a retreat to all the leaders. And during that leadership retreat is when the story of just the same way Fanny has said. So I just wanted to also mention to everyone that Soroptimist International has been sponsoring this young women's leadership camp for the last 4 years. And it is through that we have really succeeded in hosting 200 girls for 10 to 15 days through the President's Appeal. It was one of the President's Appeal project, and we are very grateful for those who have contributed towards the President's Appeal. This is the results of the President Appeal's contribution, and just having young Soroptimists coming out of this, I think, is an honor. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate being here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanga. And I just think it's super interesting that two of the clubs that we have heard from today came out of very focused leadership development opportunities for young women. So I think that's very cool. And I just want to invite, we have another club coming up, and I just want to invite Yvonne Simpson for a moment to come in. And Yvonne, would you tell us briefly about, because we've been talking about how these clubs get going, would you tell us about the exciting event that you've got coming up in Southeast Asia Pacific and how that
Kia
came
ora.
to be?
Kia ora. Thank you very much. It's a Sunday morning here, so I'm awake. I ended up. So we have got a charter on the 24th of February for our Soroptimist International Southeast Asia Pacific Sisters Online. We're a composite of dual members, so that's something that our federation has brought in, that you can be a member of two clubs. There's nothing in our constitution to prevent that, and we're encouraging it with the dual member pays 25% of our federation fee rather than 100%. So you pay 125% to belong to two clubs. So our online group consists of dual members, about 5 of us, a group from Vietnam, which is exciting for us because we have not had Vietnamese, we do not have a Vietnamese club yet. And then we've got somebody in China, Australia, New Zealand. So we've got 5 countries in our club to be, and it's taken probably, it's taken most of this year, well, last year, for this to happen. So Kim Hainsworth from Tasmania will be our charter president. And we've been doing activities as an online community. You need 10 to charter in our federation now. We have 15 who will be chartering, and we range in age from about 60 years, I think late 20s to late 80s. We've got one who's just so excited to join the opportunity because she cannot attend her club, so she's going to join us online. We've got a book club happening, and we've had webinars, and we have a project with a group of young Vietnamese mums with their English. Every Sunday morning we have a conversation English. So our program will encourage more to come, and the opportunity to attend without having to go out to meetings that people can't attend is the other. But we're across our federation. Is that what you want?
Brilliant. That is
Yeah.
exactly what I want. Thank you so much, Yvonne. All right. See you in a bit.
Thank you.
So Rachel, let me go to you. What have been some of the challenges of an online club, and how have you addressed those challenges?
I think one of the challenges, which actually is a little bit similar to one we experienced in our business, actually, because we're not meeting in person, because we only meet online. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer to kind of form those connections or form friendships, or build a kind of a culture within a club, if you like. And so the way that we've overcome that is by, first of all, utilizing digital tools. So I mentioned before our WhatsApp group, that's quite an active group, and in there we not only talk about program action that we're doing, but we share news articles or things that we've found in other groups that we belong to, or things that are pertinent to program action and stuff, and that kind of prompts discussion, and that's quite an informal place for having chat and having a laugh as much as anything. And another thing we've done is we've had a couple of social events. So we have our monthly online meeting, which is obviously club business. But we've had 3 or 4 now social events as well. We've had a Christmas do, we had a social fundraising quiz, and they were much more of a sort of get to know you opportunity. So we specifically didn't schedule any, business, and we just talked to each other and found out, what have we got in common, and what are our similarities and things like that. So that was really good. And I think we haven't, because we are all spread out around the UK, we haven't yet met in person as a club, but we have made efforts to meet kind of individually. We've been on other committees together, or we've been to conference and met up with each other. So I think most of us have met most of us in some capacity, and that's one thing that we're going to try and keep doing, is if there are opportunities where we can get together and meet in person, we will do that, but obviously without excluding anybody from the club. So yeah, I think that those are our 2 bits.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Leslie, you were keen to talk about meeting some of the challenges that you faced.
I would say our biggest challenge is when we are doing something. For example, we had a speaker series that had we had a women's author speaker series, and 3 different months. And just to get participants, we thought we were doing really good at promoting it, mainly with social media. But we didn't have very many participants outside of our club. So we are actually really excited about continuing the speaker series, because there's just so many different topics you can do it on. Our next one we're thinking of doing is a farm to table one, and get women chefs to talk, which would that's a real big thing here. I'm not sure how it goes around the world, but it's very big here in the Northwest. And yeah, so that's one thing that we're working on. In terms of social interaction and just community getting to know each other, most of our members do go to regions, so we do get together there. Those of us that do live, I'd say, within an hour and a half of each other, have gotten together for lunches and gone over things to present to the club for program ideas. And also we have done what we call Soroptipals, where each of us were matched with another member, and we just get to know each other through that, whether it's email, phone calls, sending fun little gifts. It's really up to you how you want to do it, but it's a really great opportunity to get to know another member that you didn't know before. And we actually have had that kind of pause for about a year, and we're going to start it up again. And now that we have some new members as well, so it also helps to make them feel welcome. But that's worked really well, and it is a fun thing that we do.
Brilliant. And let me ask you quickly. So one of the SIA programs that I think some folks will know about is Dream It, Be It, a program for young women, high school age girls. And most in-person clubs, of course, have an in-person gathering for that. Have you guys addressed Dream It, Be It?
Oh my God, I am 100% behind Dream It, Be It, and always have been from its fruition. I have personally taught it 2 times in person at a local high school here, in the city where I live, and another member also partnered with me and helped doing the 7 sessions. And we also partnered with Community in Schools, and which is a great nationwide program here that particularly works with underserved girls and kids in general. And they've been a great partnership. 2 years ago, I did an online class with the Eastside Native American education program, And my sister actually helped me with that. She's half Native, and that was really cool too. And that worked well. I was a little hesitant about, oh, can I do this? Is this online going to work? But it did. It was nice. And then this year, this spring, I will be doing another one locally in my city, and I'm still working out the particulars with that. But yes, 100% Dream It Be It. In fact, I'm the rep for District 1 also. I mean, that's how enthusiastic I am about it. They asked me to do that. So yeah, great program.
Thank you so much. All right. Sarah, what about your club? What challenges did you find, and how have you addressed them? How have you overcome them?
Okay, well, I remember that when we were just being founded, we should have seen each other on a live event, but the COVID pandemic exploded, so we transformed that event into an online event, and it worked well. So in this occasion, we had the proof that we could work as a team. And a challenge that at the moment we are facing is that sometimes we are not able to see each other in person because we live and work in different cities and countries. So sometimes we struggle about it. But as Rachel mentioned, we schedule online and offline events too. So for example, for the online moment, we thought to special occasion, also for reinforce our relation with team building, team working, and for the ones who live near, maybe in the same cities or in regions that are near with one with each other. We organize dinners and trips together. Also, with small groups, it works too.
And can you say a little bit about the programs that you've managed to create? Your charter project was so brilliant. If everybody doesn't know the diary for high school girls. So what as an online club, what kind of programs have you kind of come up with?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So one of our services has been the Change Your Minds agenda that we deliver to middle school students. And in particular, we divided ourselves into different groups. And each group was committed into one topic in order to create 12 different months, of course, with 12 different topics. And we found out 12 professions and role models to inspire these new generations. And to do it, we worked really hard, also in summer, in the evenings, without time, okay, because we were very, very committed into this program, this service. And in May last year, we delivered it to these schools in the south of Italy with the support of one university. And it was great because they started using and every page has a quiz, has a test, has a story, has a QR code. Everything was thought to be inspirational for them and to improve their careers. And also we want to tell them that they could do everything they want with passion and with energy, of course having a model to follow.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
so much. And last, Finny. Where's Finny gone? Are you still here, Finny? Or if she got dropped, then maybe maybe Kayega can come back.
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Okay, let me repin you. So Finny, from
Mhm.
from your branch, all those fruits and leaves on your on the Soroptimist tree, what challenges have you faced and overcome? And also what kinds of programs has your brand new club come up with?
Thank you so much. One, I would say the first challenge is on leadership. It was tough getting to know what I hold and the kind of duty and responsibility. But thanks to Madam Hayanga, she's been very patient and always guiding step by step on what is to be done. And together with the other presidents in the club, are also guiding and helping, assisting where possible for me to know what is supposed to be done. So that is the first. The second is managing girls and young women is not an easy task because they all both have a whole lot of stuff to do. Some are still trying to find their paths, you know. One day they're here, next day they're just like, you know what? I don't really think this is my thing. I might go and venture into something else. So it's also a duty and a responsibility for me to guide them and help them buy the vision and get to understand why are we doing this? Is it just service and that's it? But also just making them understand there is more to it than service. So those are some of the challenges I think currently I would address. But also, how did I overcome? Learning the diversity of girls and young women and how they operate and how they work really helps because then you will know which challenge is handled at what time and at what point and how do you address it and how far can you go with it because you can't impose a lot on them, just also understanding them as well is another key. So I'd say that's how I've been able to manage and just also having a mentor in terms of leadership is important for a young president like me because you know sometimes things might be overwhelming and you just need someone to talk to, someone to hear you, someone to give you a redirection of what you had planned and how you wanted to do it. So I think I would say that's how I've handled it. To speak about the activities that we've been planning together with the other girls and young women, we decided to focus on elimination of gender-based violence, of which we had the mitigation measures, we had capacity building for the girls and young women for them to also know what exactly are we speaking about when we say gender-based violence and how equipped are we, because we will also be sharing knowledge. So you need to put in something into a cup for you to get out something from a cup. So that is the first thing. And then the next activity, which is exciting, I would just love to mention that my girls and young women went for was the femicide activity that happened in Kenya today. So we've been having a lot of killings of late, and the women, girls and young women, mobilized themselves and went into the streets just to seek justice and ask for the way forward from the government because some of our women leaders have also been very quiet about the issue, and we needed urgent action. So I'm also happy to share that my fellow girls and young women have been at the forefront of addressing femicide as well. And then another activity that we have lined up is the scholarship activity. So we decided to adopt 2 girls from the mentorship training, sorry, the leadership training that we've been having in Lugari, Musembe. And criteria was vulnerable and very bright students, of which we found 2. So that is also an activity that we'll be doing. And we are happy and excited. It will just not be paying school fees, but we'll also mentor them and work with them in this journey for them just to be holistic people, not just one-sided in books, but also women of substance as well. And then another one that we have is environmental and sustainability, which we decided that we were planting trees in one under the leadership training that we have, and also just having an activity based on sensitizing the community as well on the importance of tree planting and why do we need to conserve our environment as well. And then just organizing cleanups within the community, and also collaborating with the local authorities to have an holistic approach of how we work, because we work in a community, and a community is comprised of so many people. We just don't have one person in the community. We have other people in the community which are part of the authorities, and that will also bring a political goodwill anytime we want to plan or do our activities. And then we also have economic empowerment, because we know that this is one of the key factors that girls and young women really need to understand, because then when we are economically empowered, then we can be able to fend for ourselves, and we can also be able to add value into the community, and we can be able to run whatever we want with our own money. So we've organized workshops and trainings to enhance financial literacy with the women, support initiatives to provide access to affordable and credit and finance, advocate for policies promoting fair wages. Why we are saying we need to advocate on policies, because in Kenya, for us, we have the Women Fund, which under the Women Fund, you find that, or the Youth Fund, where you find you need to be like a very large group of people, but the amount of money that they're giving you does not equalize with the number. I mean, it cannot even push you further. So just having us going to those policy spaces and asking them, how did we come up with this number? What are some of the challenges that we've been able to get to the ground from whence we started giving out this money, because this and that is not working, and we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to be adjusted for the girls and young women to be able to apply for the loans and the grants, for them to be economically empowered, and even just have online trainings on women empowerment. And to just not forgetting that we also have health, which we also speak about as well. But those are some of the areas: environmental and sustainability, health, care, and mental wellness. Mental wellness is one of the most important at these times, considering that we have inflation, considering that life is becoming tough. You find that people tend to shy off or tend to keep quiet about the issues that they speak. But we decided, because we also have self-care being one of the principles that we have as Tawi E-Club, we organize health fairs and workshops providing information on various health topics and offering free health screenings, and then just collaborating with other local healthcare providers in the organization to help in accessing quality care. Also campaigns, not forgetting, which is helping also in creating awareness and just fighting stigma around mental health, educate people on available resources for mental health support, hosting support groups and providing trainings on mental health, peer support programs, and mobile health clinics. And those are some of the key areas that we decided that as Tawi E-Club, those are some of the issues that we hold dear to heart and some of the activities that we need to do for us to be able to help address some of the challenges within the community. So I think up to that, that's all I can say, not unless there's any question concerning my presentation or what I've said.
So not much then, really, in 3 months. You're killing me, Finny. My list is going on and on. Okay, that's ridiculously amazing. All right, thank you, and we'll come back to you. And I'm conscious Rachel has to dash, or her in-laws will be annoyed. So
They will. Can I just say thank you so much for having me? Kathy Warwick, who's also a member of SI Libertas, is also on the call. So if you do have any questions about Libertas, Kathy will be able to answer them. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
So Rachel, just before you go, what's your top tip?
My top tip would be just do it. I mean, Soroptimist clubs, Soroptimist federations now are becoming a lot more aware that clubs need to work for the members and not the other way around. And SIGB have been amazing with us about being really, really flexible. And I know a lot of other federations, and just from what women have said today, you know, federations are being a lot more flexible. So you know, keep going, find a, you know, form a club that works for the women that want to be in that club, and make it work that way around, and keep going, and it will work, and it'll come together.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Have fun at dinner.
I will do my best. Thank you. Good night.
Good night. That's marvelous. And so that's actually something, I mean, you know, a couple of other questions that I was going to ask were what you do for fun, but I think folks have talked about that as well. And what is your top tip? So let me ask Leslie, and then we're going to open it up to other questions and conversation. Leslie, what's your top tip?
I believe I'd say that have everyone feel valued and appreciated. And by everyone, I mean all your members. I think that's really key and very important.
Brilliant. And not just online. Sarah, what about you? What's the top tip?
Okay, so have a good connection, of course, because we are virtual clubs. So the first thing, of course, is this. So I'm joking, of course. The suggestion is to be a good listener, to put joy and believe in yourselves as a group. And remember that we are part of a big movement and community. We can always learning from other sisters. And we have a role on changing the rules and making things happen.
Brilliant, thank you. And Finny, from your vast experience of 3 months now, what's your top tip for online, not just clubs, but meetings, activities, and in general?
For me, it's about attaining safe spaces for girls and young women and women in the society, in the community, because growing up as a girl and young woman in the inner core slums of Kibera, I've been a victim of sexual harassment and attempt of rape. And it was a tough journey for me being a teenager, you know, expressing this to my mother. And she also has her own depression, she has her own life, and she has no one to speak to. You know, just being a sister for the other sisters who are out there going through challenges, and they know that they ask themselves questions. Will I ever make it? Will I ever have the best of the life that I ever dreamed of? So for me, it's just equal opportunities and having safe spaces for women within our society and our community, because it's too harsh for a woman, and it's even 10 times harder as time goes by. So it's just good to lend a sister hand and tell them, you know what, we have been here, we've gone through all this, but look at us, we are now victorious, and we've emerged to become women of substance in the community and in the society. And not forgetting leadership as well, because when you have power, then you're able to influence a lot. But power is it's diverse for me. It's them knowing the strength they have within them, and that dream that they had as young women, that one day, one time, as Martin Luther used to say, you know, I have a dream, and I had a dream, and now I'm here, and I'm still living my dream, and they have a dream, and they will achieve their dream. So for me, that's the takeaway that I would say. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm actually just going to ask Yvonne as well. Yvonne, what would be, you know, in your experience of going through chartering this club, what's your top tip that you've learned?
I think that remove the barriers. One of the barriers for us was that we had interested women who wanted to stay in their own clubs, but wanted to also join the online. And so that was the push, one of the pushes to have introduced dual membership to our federation, and that has worked in other fields as well. So remove that barrier, have a good time. We have a book club. Make it work. We work across 5 time zones, 5 hours of time zone, 5 hours. So we meet on a Sunday, and we have Vietnamese who cannot afford it. So we ask them, pay what you can, and then we find sponsorship to amongst the group to meet their fees. So remove the barriers and keep chugging along, because this is of great value.
Brilliant. Thank you. And that one point that you said about pay what you can and sponsorship, one of the things that that Kayenga did for the Taiwan Club was to ask for sponsorship for their current memberships for this year, and they're all paying forward for next year's membership, so it's sustainable. They just got sponsorship for this year, and I thought that was a brilliant strategy. We've got some time left, and I would love to know what questions folks have. I think Colleen Penrowley's been monitoring the chat, or if Colleen, do you have some questions from there? Or if not, people can just put up their hand.
Actually, Suzanne, I am not the person to be monitoring the chat, because the chat on my computer does not come up properly. So perhaps Darlene has had a chance.
Okay.
I think really,
Well,
Suzanne, that a lot of the questions have been answered within the chat to each other. So I think perhaps we might want to see if there's new ones. I think people were asking questions just around fees and different things. So, Sharon has her hand up. Sharon Fisher.
All right, go ahead, Sharon.
Greetings. I just want to, first of all, President Fenny, so good to see you again, and Kayenga and Kathy. In Dublin, some of you will remember I offered anybody who wanted to come to Kenya in November to attend that leadership group and the subsequent chartering of this club to contact me. And I'm pleased to say that 8 Soroptimists joined us in Kenya in November for a couple of weeks. And my takeaway was watching the leadership group of girls that were about 13 to say 17, 200 of them, looking at them, their dress, their grooming, etc., and meeting them. We did a full Dream It Be It with them. As Kayenga says, it's 2 weeks of Dream It Be It, but we did a full day with our curriculum. And then seeing the girls that had been in that leadership camp over the last 10 years coming back for the chartering, and looking at the transformation of the girls having the benefit of the leadership camp and then moving on, and then seeing the attachments they'd made coming back in the last couple of days of the leadership camp to meet the people that the new graduates was amazing. They would come in, it was like, I was 2018, I was 2015, I was 2019, and it was so amazing to see such a fulfilling experience. And to do those sort of things, you need the project, you know, but it feeds that membership going forward, which is just amazing. I think Kayanga's even got some other leads to replicate this in other locations around the country. But bringing the girls together once in a while was, I think, really a benefit also. Fenny, you might agree with that, to bring everybody together for that chartering in person rather than just online was also quite a feature. But we met girls from all over the country. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a question about, actually, I think this is for Kiange. How do you identify the girls that get to go to the leadership camp in Kenya? And then Cheryl Ball is the next person to ask a question. So Kiange, can you answer that?
Thank you so much, Darlene. The criteria to get the girls into the training is very tedious. We go through the Ministry of Education. So what we do is, because they're coming from all over the country, we select the different counties where we have the students coming from. We pick 1, 2, or 3 schools from every county. Then we write to them and introduce the program to them. And then the schools decide who is coming. We give them the criteria. They have to be leaders. We call them prefects here, or monitors in their classes. And they have to be voted by the staff in their schools. And we send them a form, which the school fills out and signs, which also has a part where the parents accept that they come to this training. So it's a very tedious process. We start as early as March, and by the time they come in October and November, we pass through a lot of process for them to come. So it's not easy for the parents to accept their children to go somewhere they don't know, and for whatever purpose. So we do a lot of awareness and sensitization until the girls arrive. So yeah.
Thank you. Cheryl Ball, Governor-elect for Eastern Canada, has a comment or a question.
Well, I have a comment. I'm just so in awe of the African Federation and what Kawanga and Finney are doing. You know, I know a bit about online clubs. I've attended some of these friendship sessions and was so impressed last time about Sarah and her STEM leaders working together and how they raise money through social media. But I don't think I had the full and I still don't have the full understanding of what it's like to be a woman in Africa. And what you're doing, it's women helping women, and who better than women? We've all been, not all been there, but we can understand other people's situations and help. And the common thought that I had is friendships. We join to, you know, to help the world, but we maintain our memberships because we have the support of our colleagues or the other Soroptimists and develop friendships, be it online or in person. And I wanted to say to Finney, you have some great big ambitions, but be kind to yourself. Just, you know, they say you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So start small and always celebrate what you've accomplished, because, you know, a lot of great people have had some things that weren't so successful and they've gone on to create great things. And you are making a big difference in the lives of these women. And I thank you, thank you, thank you. That's it.
Thanks. And yes. And I think again, you mentioned, Cheryl, is we have friendships around the world. And so when you travel, make a point of contacting clubs, or if you're in any sort of difficulty, or if you have families that are visiting. And I'm wearing, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the Scottish tartan. So I was able to go to Dublin, and we did a little cruise from Copenhagen, where I met with a Soroptimist club there, and 3 clubs in Scotland. And so and I've had the opportunity to host Soroptimists when they've traveled, particularly if they're visiting Western Canada and doing an Alaska cruise. And the next international convention will be in Washington State, in Bellevue, very close to Canada. So if you're here, please come and visit us. And I think some clubs in the past have also done friendship grants where you've had the opportunity to attend one of the conferences that a federation or a country is hosting, so possibly being able to do that. And I see that we have Janae that has her hand up.
Take my hand down.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Kathleen.
and
That was a great lead in because SI Edmonton has a friendship link with SI Nebraska Prof, and Olga, who you see here, is in attendance, and she is actually in the Maritimes right now in Eastern Canada, but planning a trip to Western Canada. So all you members from Western Canada, she will soon be in your area in Victoria for sure, and a few other things. Maybe Olga, we can share some of your itinerary, and maybe you could give us an update on Ukraine too.
wonderful. Thank you, Janae. And yes, Olga, we'd love to hear from you. And then I would love to hear something from Kathy Warwick from SI Libertas.
Hello, everybody. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I'm very glad I have this opportunity to join this meeting, thanks to Jane, who had written me about it. I am now in Canada visiting my daughter because you know the situation in Ukraine and in our city is rather difficult now. I should say that our club now is working, let's say, in duality. Some part is in the city and try to work and to help refugees from the eastern part of Ukraine to help with their living expenses. And some people who are abroad, we are trying to find some money, to find some things to send to the city to help our club members to do more work there. And we also try to help to one women's center, which was in Kherson region, which is now under big number of explosions and very difficult time. And also with this catastrophe of Kakhovskaya gas, they had to move to Nikolaev region because everything was underwater in their region. And we are trying to help them with some things. And our friendship link clubs, I should say, which are in Denmark, in England, in the Netherlands, they are trying also to help us with some funds, which we are using for this, let's say, our work in Dnipro. So we are still trying to work and to do some things which are necessary for women and children in our country, which is now under very, let's say, very difficult conditions. As about myself, I am now visiting my daughter and I live now in Fredericton. It's the eastern part of Canada. And it was my dream for many years to visit the western part of this country. And this year, together with my friend from Dnipro, who will come to Vancouver in April, we will make, let's say, 2 weeks journey around Vancouver, Jasper, Banff, 1 day in Calgary, and then back for a few days in Vancouver. I am working here in one governmental organization, so I just earned some money so we can afford this trip. I've written to Jane about our itinerary and will be happy if it would be possible to meet some Soroptimists there, maybe just to have some coffee, just to talk about the situation, about everything, about your beautiful country, which I like very much. So I hope I will see some of you in April, at the end of April.
I'm sure you will. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you very
Olga,
much.
and very best wishes.
Thank you.
So,
I'll give them to my sisters in Dnipro.
yes. Rachel mentioned Kathy Warwick. Kathy, can you, you're in Libertas, and I see that Alice, I don't know how to pronounce your last name, Alice Pome? Anyway, you are both members of of online clubs. Can you come on and tell us a little bit about your story, how you found yourself in an online club, and what's been the joy for you?
I think that Alice went out. She's
Okay.
one of the member of our e-club net lead, and we met during the foundation of the e-club, and so yeah, she's one of ours that give us support in the activities and all the important meetings and everything. So it's a pleasure for us having her. And also there is Eleonora that join us tonight in this meeting. Yes, so we have a great support from Italy in this moment, and it's really impressive every time how they get the time to be here and to support and to know other sisters like you.
Yes. So Leonora, would you tell us a little bit your story, how you found the e-club and the joy for you?
Eleonora, ci sei? Sorry, I speak in Italian. Eleonora, can you hear us? I don't know if she's able to hear us. Well, I messaged to her, so if she's ready, I think that she will talk. Okay.
Yes. And I just have to take the opportunity to say a special hello and thank you to Kathy. And how do you pronounce your last name, Kathy? Coit?
It's Coit.
It's Coit.
Coit.
Unless you're in America and it's Coyote.
Well, I have to say a special thank you to you because, worldwide friendship, you entrusted Sharon Fisher with a beautiful Soroptimist color bag from Kenya. And I should run off and grab it and show folks. And it has made its way to me. And it's just stunning. So I have to thank you for that, and Kanga and Kathy. So you're now a member of SI Tawi.
Yes,
what's your story? What's the joy for you?
The joy for me is that I'm much more of a techie, and I'm traveling a lot more than I was. So I was a member of SI Eldoret. How I got to Eldoret is through Soroptimist. I was IGU chair in Golden West region back in 2001 when we hosted two girls from Kenya. And they came, I remember taking them to the Golden West region in Tucson, the meeting there, and we put on a workshop about Kenya. And then they came back to my house and asked if we could not have steak that night. They were a little bored with barbecues because every night somebody, wherever they've been staying in this bond of friendship, they've been given barbecue. So we did a stew with collard greens. I realized later that I'd done it the wrong way around. I made the meat soft and the vegetables hard. But that's not the way. Sharon's laughing. She remembers having the hard vegetables and the hard meat and the soft vegetables. They do it a different way in Kenya. But through that, I went out to visit Kenya in 2001 and then had amazing 2 weeks visiting with Soroptimist in Kenya. And 10 years later, ended up retiring to Kenya, joining Soroptimist in Eldoret. And then Howie very kindly let me join them. I think I doubled the average age when I joined them, but I'm still hoping they consider themselves young ladies. And it's just been a pleasure for me to be a member of their club and a little bit more of a mentor than an active member. And
to me, it's working great. I'm hoping it's working for the young ladies as well. It's just been great to be able to be part of that group. I'm not sure I can dance quite as well as they do, but we try. And it was just a joy also to, along with Kayanga, to host Sharon and her group that came out in November. Just amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And
And
I'm
we've
glad
got
you.
Leonora back. Leonora, oh, go ahead.
I
Oh,
was
yes.
all I was.
The bag
All
is,
I was.
the bag is gorgeous.
That's what I'm glad you. I'm glad it got to you. I just saw the bag and said that has to go to a senior Soroptimist in Canada. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have Leonora back with us. Leonora, would you just say a few words about how you got involved with the E Club and what's the joy for you?
Hi, sisters from all over the world. Sorry, I don't have a good connection. So this is the reason why sometimes you see me in the lobby. So I'm so sorry. So it's a pleasure to meet you all. And it's a great opportunity for me to be part of Soroptimist Net Lead and Soroptimist International. I'm very emotional of being part of this huge group all over the world. So I was involved in Soroptimist thanks to Giancarla Portieri, that I know that most of you know her. So she's my mentor in Soroptimist, and I really have to thank her for this opportunity. It's fantastic work working with my colleagues in Soroptimist Net Lead. So Sarah is fantastic, and all the other girls are fantastic. So we do a lot of interesting things. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Eleonora. And Kathy, I see you're back from Libertas. Would you like to add anything about your journey into the E Club and the joy you find?
Joy I find in the E Club is we're using technology for the common good, and I'm a great believer in technology. I think it's wonderful. And so moving forward, we're learning so much. That's the joy of an E Club to me, and the flexibility, being able to go to meetings without stepping outside my door. It's just amazing. But also friendship, because I happen to be SIGB Friendship Link Coordinator. And since since we chartered SI Libertas, we now have 5 friendship links across the world, and 4 of them are E-clubs, with actually 1 club on the ground in Uganda, which we're having a meeting tomorrow for, which is a fundraising webinar to help our friendship link in Uganda build a medical centre to help eliminate cervical cancer in Africa. So that's our big program action at the moment. However, that's the joy for me. We're helping people across the world and using technology for the common good and friendship too.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And I think that kind of says it all. We're using technology to help women and girls across the world and to make connections ourselves. Okay. I'm happy to stay on for a little while, but I think I just have gratitude for the for Rachel and Sarah and Finny and Leslie, and for all the others folks who have contributed to this knowledge and inspiration and ideas. And I think it's very obvious that we can do Soroptimist programs and be Soroptimists in all kinds of ways and wherever we are. So gratitude to everyone. And Darlene, did you have
I just wanted to
something to add?
say, yeah, I wanted to say that again, if you're not already following the clubs that we had our storytellers from, please do on through their social media. It's a good way to find out about events like the one that they're having tomorrow, and follow, and hopefully there's more opportunities for friendship links. One of the things that I mentioned to Governor Suzanne is SI Vancouver is our oldest club in Canada. They will be 100 in 2026. My goal is that we have 100 friendship links between our Eastern and Western Canada. And in fact, one of our Canadian online club will likely be coast to coast. We're hoping for our next event to be on April the 20th. And we're open to suggestions for what you might like to see in these calls in the future. We usually try to do 3 a year, and there's no reason why you can't host and invite us. And so thank you so much for coming. And I know that Suzanne will share her amazing notes from the last call and also this one, and it will be recorded so that you can share it with others in your club, and do come visit us either virtually or in person.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I think Colleen will be able to put this up on our YouTube channel, and we'll send an email out to everyone when that is up. So thank you all for joining hands around the world as Soroptimists. And the very best to everyone, morning, afternoon, evening, nighttime.
And if it's
Take
tomorrow,
care.
today, yeah. Suzanne, you'll save the chat?
I will.
Thank you.